Hey everyone, welcome to Full Spectrum Radio. I'm your host Sarah Labrie, and my awesome co-host Matt is with us. How are you doing, Matt?
I'm doing alright. How are you doing tonight?
Very good. Glad to be home. I was out of town for about a week, so way up north where it was freezing cold. I'm so happy to be back in the sunshine now.
Yeah, I was actually going to mention something about that because you were talking about how cold you were when you were there and everything, and I was actually out on a motorcycle today, so and I was fine.
Yeah, it was so freezing. But we have an awesome night tonight. We have Jim Krut, who was in the original Dawn of the Dead movie with us tonight, so it'll be a lot of fun speaking with him in just a minute. And also we have Jason Gates from Haunted Collector, who'll be on later. So it should be a lot of fun. And we do have Jim on with us right now. So Jim, how are you doing?
I'm feeling better.
Nice. Did you have a good week?
Oh yeah, I've been having a great week. Last weekend I was in Scranton for the Infect Scranton show, and we had a few of the folks from the original Dawn of the Dead, as well as several folks from the original Night of the Living Dead at the show.
Oh, nice.
And there were also probably 4 or 5 folks from The Walking Dead.
Oh, wow. That's
So it
awesome.
was a good dead sprint in Scranton.
A lot of dead people, huh?
They were looking pretty good, though, pretty healthy.
That's awesome. Very cool.
Well, I actually met Jim in Virginia with our friend Katie and Gregory that run a Ghost Bats radio down there. But I wish everybody could see it because it's actually a pretty good picture. If you went to my DTR map page, my banner is all of us standing there. And yeah, Jim actually you look too alive, Jim. You know, send me some other pictures. It's night too, so that's a compliment. We had a long day that day, yes, indeed. Oh, yeah.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
The one thing I did want to have you let everybody know, if there was any specifics about it, or if anybody's in the area, let people know what you got going on this Friday. It's a pretty big event. Yes, it is. I've never been down to Kings Dominion, which is a huge amusement park north of Richmond, Virginia. And I'm south of, I'm just above the Maryland border in Pennsylvania, so it's not too bad of a trip for me. But that's when they're kicking off their Halloween haunt for the Halloween season, starting with a zombie invasion this Friday. And it's kind of interesting what they're going to do. They're going to open the park early at 6 o'clock for people who are fully dressed as zombies.
Oh my gosh.
And one of the things they hope to do is try to, my understanding is to try to top the Guinness Book of World Records for the most zombies in one place.
That would be awesome.
And the Guinness is actually going to have a representative down there too, aren't they? That's my understanding. I guess they don't just always take people's words for it. Yeah, we had thousands and thousands. They're probably going to maybe do some sort of head count. And also, I'll be joined by Len Barnhart, who is author of Reign of the Dead and 2 other pretty fascinating zombie books. A great friend, great guy, also a musician. I think anybody who would meet Len would have a grand time too. So the 2 of us are going to be down there, and I'm going to be joined. Here's a surprise announcement by my 2 daughters, who are going to be assisting me at the table.
Oh, nice. Are they going to be dressed up as well?
I don't think so. I want to be able to recognize them so that when I go back home, I don't forget to put them in the car.
That's awesome. That must be really nice to be able to have your family join you for stuff like that.
Yeah, it is. Well, they've always enjoyed the fun of Halloween season, and they know I've always been kind of a kid as far as Halloween for a number of years anyway. So it'll be a great time to see this huge zombie turnout, and maybe get to see a bit of the haunted attractions there at Kings Dominion. So it should be a pretty cool event.
That's awesome. Tell us a little bit about working in the movie Dawn of the Dead. Like that was such an awesome movie, and I just watched a quick clip of it again today where you were getting your head chopped off by helicopter blades. It was pretty crazy. That must have been a lot of
Well, it's
fun.
crazy now, but at the time it was pretty bizarre and revolutionary for an effect.
Right.
And as opposed to having computer-generated graphics, it was all done, I would say, live. And special effects master Tom Savini is the one I worked with on that effect. Tom actually cast me for the movie for that part. He was not necessarily the casting director, but I'd worked with Tom. We'd gone to college together and also worked in theater together. And I was living in Pittsburgh back in the mid 1970s, and caught up with Tom. We got back together again. He said, "I've got this great role for you, George Romero film coming up." And the only thing that we'd really known about George Romero was Night of the Living Dead from 1968, which in its time, of course, was probably the seminal zombie film.
Mhm.
And people had sometimes violent reactions to it because it was so groundbreaking, earth-shattering, and revolutionary for the type of movie.
Right.
He broke new ground with it. And so you have to think too, gee, if you're an actor and you're going to get involved with something, how's it going to affect your career? Is that going to make people really want to come see you more or see you less, or close the door in your face?
Right.
So, it was, at the time, man, it's hard to believe this now, it was in a sense kind of risky to partake in such a movie, as Dawn of the Dead. But I'm certainly glad it did.
Definitely.
It turned out to be a great role, and the Bravo Network considers it one of the top 100 moments in horror movie history. So
That's
I'm very
awesome.
pleased to have that as part of the resume, so to speak.
Right. And it's amazing the jump that is taken from when you made that movie to now, when zombies are so popular right now. Like, it's the new flavor of the week, I guess you can say. But huge.
Well, the other thing I noticed too is everybody knows. I mean, that's the dead man himself. Everybody knows Jim, and from what I've noticed, everybody that I talk to and I bring up your name, everybody knows who you are. Everybody loves you. Oh, it's one of my favorite parts of the movie, and I mean, it's stuck around. I honestly can't tell you many other people and that have had a staple as in a role, which it's amazing just how much everybody still just cherishes that movie and still loves it. I mean, it's awesome. I love the movie too. It's great for you and everything, and hopefully it did open up some more doors. But it has been fascinating for me. I mean, obviously it had an impact in many ways on me. But even from the convention we just did up in Scranton, the variety of people, young and old, 8, 9, 10 years old. I've seen the movie several times. I had someone come in who was in his 60s, and he said this is the first convention he's ever been to, but he's been a huge fan of Dawn of the Dead, and he estimated over $6,000 worth of memorabilia, photographs, and so forth.
Oh my gosh.
Related to Dawn of the Dead, and he'd never been to a convention or actually met anybody from the movie before.
Oh my goodness.
And to me, it's like he's got a shrine in his house. And I think, and so you have the wild gamut there. People say, oh, boy, that was kind of a cool show. To people who really saw so much in it and how much it meant to them that they devoted a portion of their life to identifying with it. A number of people have gone back to see the locations where it was filmed, as well as some of the other Romero film settings and scenes. So it has had an unusual impact, and in terms of legs, it's had legs for years.
Right. Well, that's awesome. And there were a couple other movies that you've been in as well. Do you want to tell us a little bit about those? I mean, it's all kind of the same genre, pretty much, right?
yes. I've done a lot of theater, and that theater has always been a big help to me too. I've done, let's see, earlier on was the Guatemalan handshake, and that was a few years back. One of the most recent ones I got involved in was we finished shooting in June of this year, and that was with Zombie Girl Diary, and I hope to see that sometime on the big screen. I've done a few other things this year too. One was called Flesh of the Living, and I was not a zombie in that. Nor in Zombie Girl Diary. I have to say that I was one of the survivors. I won't tell you a lot about the story, but I was one of the survivors out in the woods who tries to help a couple other survivors. In Flesh of the Living, I play a news reporter who happens to be a helicopter news reporter.
Oh, jeez. Nice.
Fitting the job.
Right.
The drawback with that. Of course, the director, Robert Elkins, has a bizarre sense of humor, and he says, "Oh, we gotta get that in there." So he got me fixed up with a helicopter in there, and of course the helicopter crashes into zombie-infested territory. Why I'm walking around with a microphone in one hand and a revolver in the other is another matter. But that's called Flesh of the Living. We shot that earlier this year. Sometime in the next several weeks, I'll be working on Night of the Living Dead Genesis, and that's going to be, I guess you could call it a reimagining or a revisioning of the original 1968 Night of the Living Dead. The director on that is Matt Cloud, and he's a very talented and ambitious director in Virginia, out of Luray, Virginia, and I think it's going to be a fantastic show, really. In fact, Judith O'Day, who was in Scranton this past weekend, who was, if you remember the original Night of the Living Dead, the opening cemetery scenes where Johnny says, "They're coming to get you, Barbara." You might be familiar with that line. Well, Judith O'Day played Barbara, and she's also going to have a role in this remake of Night of the Living Dead.
Oh, nice.
Also, a couple folks from The Walking Dead are going to be in it. Addie Miller and Jeremy Ambler is going to be in it. We also have Mike Christopher, who was in Dawn of the Dead, the original. He was the Hare Krishna zombie. David Crawford, who's in the original Dawn of the Dead. He was in the opening scenes where the two newscasters are debating back and forth about the impact of the zombie incursion. So, in many ways, it's an homage to those movies, and shows respect to, that tradition of film going all the way back to 1968 and George Romero.
That's
Well,
awesome.
Jim, speaking of that, there's a question that I have as far as what you notice and your opinion is. Like, what do you think of more of the movies like Dairyland and Survival of the Dead? Some of the newer stuff. I'm sorry, what was the first one you mentioned? The first one was Dairyland. Yeah, Dairyland is that's kind of more of a newer zombie movie. Then Survival of the Dead, I think was a little bit more popular, but well, just and not so specific, just in general, everything with CG versus some of the stuff to where you actually were at risk when you were doing stunts. But just wondering, as far as if you think some of the newer movies, not to bash any of them, but if there's too much CG, and because I personally would like to see somebody go back and do one of the old school, almost get injured doing stunts kind of movie to where it seems more realistic, and I think that would be a huge cool throwback for everybody too.
Definitely.
Well, what comes to mind is the remake of Dawn of the Dead. And if you're talking in terms of how the zombies were done, and people ask me often, are you a believer in the slow-moving, shambling zombies or the running zombies? And I think there's much more to the movies than that, but just as a, point of debate or conjecture, I don't do a lot of running these days anyway. So I'm a believer that the shambling zombies, they've got a future. But I think in terms of what it really meant is from the director's standpoint, in the original Dawn of the Dead, you had, I would say, slow-moving zombies, which gave you an opportunity to identify them. They appeared as a nurse, as a Hare Krishna person, as a mechanic, as a businessman, as somebody in a bathing suit, whatever it might have been. And I think in our own daily lives, we see people like that and we can identify with them. And especially when they're walking kind of slowly, maybe it's hauntingly, maybe it's threateningly, but we also have a chance to get a little bit of a feel for, this must be what they were like before they got turned into zombies. So in that regard, you have a little more sympathy for the zombies as well. And obviously you have to clear them out if you're going to survive as a survivor. In some of the later movies where they're moving so quickly, you don't really have that identification with the zombies other than that one looks really mean, or that one was even faster than the other fast one. And I don't think you get the same relationship there with the viewer. When a hand just comes popping out of the darkness as people are walking through a tunnel, and you don't see who's behind the hand or what kind of person that might have been, or you can't really personally identify with it. All your identification is with the heroes, the survivors, those who are trying to escape from the zombies. So I think that's kind of one difference. I don't know if that goes back to your question there, Matt, but it sure gave me something to say. To be honest there, Jim, I don't even care about you answering the question. That was just an awesome identification and an awesome response. My question was definitely just not worth it at that point. That speech was definitely worth it. You're a great question. You know what? You had me so shocked I don't even care anymore. Another question I do have though, what do you think? And obviously everybody knows this, talking about the zombie apocalypse now and everything. Like, what do you think? What do you think that comes from, or stems from, or an attribute that created that? What this craze and why it's been going on for so long, and everybody just being all over it, talking about now everything is zombie, zombie, zombie. I think it was probably a slow build. Let me just phrase it this way. When I was growing up, the monsters were Dracula, Frankenstein, the Mummy, the Wolfman, the Thing, all the classics. Or they were the Japanese monsters, Mothra, or whoever it might have been, coming out of the sea or out of space. And then humanity was kind of united against them. Or this small, terrified group was united against them. And so it was a very different concept when you introduce the idea that, gee, zombies, there's so many of them, and they look just like us. And they walk and dress like us to some extent. Mm-hmm. And there are so many of them. And it's hard to unite with humanity against a monster when most of that monster, in a sense, is humanity. Your friends, neighbors, and relatives who have already been turned. So that concept, I think, probably took a little while to catch on because I think people might have been terrified by the idea of it.
Right.
But as people get, accustomed to seeing more things on TV and on movies, that, okay, well, that was pretty shocking some time ago. No, I'm not so shocked. Give me something more exciting. There's been maybe more explicit kinds of violence, more explicit kinds of monster. Everybody's trying to top each other in terms of the visuals. The storyline still beats effects, hands down, in my mind. If the effect is part of the storyline, both are strengthened by it. But I think just a series of effects strung together by a weak storyline does not necessarily make a good movie. But coming back to your original question regarding the zombies and the popularity, it's hard to dress up like Mothra or maybe all the apparatus that the mummy has. Who wants to get all wrapped up in toilet paper, whatever that might be. But being a zombie, hey, if zombies come from regular people, you can be a regular person and become a zombie.
Right.
So I think in that way it's simply more accessible. You have the opportunity, and it doesn't take a lot of talent or imagination to create a certain look that is ghoulish. You maybe focus on the eyes and some other classic aspects of skin tears or dislocated parts. And the more sophisticated it gets, the more realistic it looks, and perhaps the more of an impact it really has. But the bottom line idea is, I think zombies are accessible. And I think people who like sports, go to sports bars and they can hang out and they can talk sports. I think people who go to zombie movies like zombies. They identify with them. And if you have something like a zombie walk, well, by golly, you're going to be running into dozens, maybe hundreds or thousands of other people who are into zombies.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll be able to see their creativity, their take, their individual look at what they imagine a zombie to be.
Right.
And it's almost endless because it's like crowdsourcing. You've got this huge reservoir of talent in people. And any one of them can say, I'm going to be a unique zombie. Yet anymore, good luck with that, because a lot of things have been tried and applied. But, it's always a delight to see how people carry out their imagining of a zombie.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And another thing about it, too, it is one of those things that, in my opinion, it's cool to be a zombie. I mean, everybody's afraid of you, but you get to walk around, you're cool, you got a whole bunch of friends, you go out, you eat some brains, I mean, it's not a good evening. Yeah, what's not to like?
Now what do you think about, like, zombies is so big now, and there's so many people actually preparing for a zombie apocalypse. And on top of that, there's these diseases. I know there's one in people down in Africa, the parasite that takes over the brain. And there was just a discovery about that same parasite in bees in the United States. Do you think a real zombie apocalypse is going to happen, or do you think it's all just something that we kind of wish would happen because of the movies?
Well, I think some people say it would be good business if it happened unless they were personally infected by it. There's an interesting approach in Wired magazine, which has a cover article titled Apocalypse Not. And it talks about, major possible things that could happen to cause an apocalypse, whether it's disease or humanity itself, lack of resources, whatever would bring it on. The net result is the same. People will want to survive.
Right.
And so when you have a zombie apocalypse, well, perhaps you know what to expect because there's some books out there, how to prepare for the zombie apocalypse. What sort of things do you need? Well, you need so much drinking water, food, protection, maybe armaments, maybe a good hiding place. It will be helpful to have some friends and batteries and maybe a generator and a source of fuel, maybe solar cells. You think of these things, and those are a lot of the same basic kinds of items that the Center for Disease Control or FEMA might have been promoting for years. So you'll see those national major organizations saying, yeah, it's kind of fun, but get your bug out kit together. What are you going to prepare for? Prepare for the zombie apocalypse. And it will also serve you well in a hurricane, a tornado, a flood, fire, forest fires, disasters of many kinds.
Hmm.
So if you have a preparedness kit, and a lot of people will talk about having it, oh yeah, that's a great thing to have. But if you have it, you are going to be better prepared, regardless of what the disaster or apocalypse might be.
Right, that's a good point.
It was interesting too that at this, I'll refer back to the Scranton, Infect Scranton convention, when they had a panel of authors who had written about the zombie apocalypse. And one of them says, I've got my bug out kit. He said, it's right in the back of my truck. And the other one of the other authors said, I've got mine, but it's at home. So, because somebody had posed the question, okay, we're all here in this hotel room or this restaurant room, and what happens if right outside there's the apocalypse? Then what do you do? All your good stuff is at home.
Right.
So, as you think about it, some people are going beyond the basic questions and asking some really pretty insightful questions. Do you keep it with you all the time? Are you that paranoid? Or do you think, well, whenever it happens, I want to be at home. That's where I'll be when it happens.
Right.
Well, as they say, most accidents happen within 25,000 homes, so some people move further away. That doesn't necessarily solve their problem.
Definitely. Well, that's a great answer.
Yeah, there was actually a show that I caught most of it. I missed a little bit, but I got the premise, and I started doing some research about the actual history of the zombie phenomenon, of where it even originated from, how it started, any of that, and actually came up with some pretty interesting things. It originated in the islands. Well, this is just from the research that I did. I can't say that this is all 100% fact, and it wasn't Wikipedia, so that works. But I did do a lot of research and a lot of comparisons of different stuff, and it originated in the islands from what they said, and there was a lot of people, like witch doctors and stuff, that would enslave people. And what they would do is they would actually give them a couple different hallucinogenics and natural muscle relaxers, stuff like that, that would actually get them in a zombified kind of state. It wasn't enough to where they were killing them, but they were kind of on the brink of consciousness. That hence the cumbersome walk, and a little bit more research ended up finding out that the reason was whatever they had, the sources was either goat or cow or anything of the area that they would be eating, that they would actually feed these man-made zombies. They feed them the brains because the people who was being divided up in the village, it was a worthless part. So,
oh my gosh.
a couple different avenues of research that I did kind of came up with the same thing, little different variances of what actual what medicines were used, certain amount of, if they gave it to them all the time, or they just gave it to them and they noticed when it started to come out of their stupor that they just give them more, or what it was. But it just seemed like the general consensus is that one of the large beliefs of where people started believing in zombies.
Wow.
Oh, that's entirely accurate, yes. And so that's considered perhaps the original origin of them, although there may be a few others. And, just to maybe frame that a little bit too in terms of film perspective, George Romero, I was on a panel with him who directed Night of the Living Dead, and somebody said, well, where'd you come up with the concept of zombies? He said, well, in Night of the Living Dead, they were never referred to as zombies. They were just the undead. Which is, maybe a little distinction or a little difference, but that term zombies was ascribed to all the undead in Night of the Living Dead. 10 years later, I'm on the set of Dawn of the Dead. It's more isolated. I haven't seen any of the other shooting. I've worked with Tom Savini for a couple of weeks on getting the makeup and the prosthetics together for my scene. And I said, well, Tom, I have to ask you this. How do these zombies act? I mean, do they move? Do they talk? Are that background in my scene. So, and I'm not necessarily taking credit for that. I'm just saying it wasn't in my mind that there were so many other zombie films out there that you could sort of pick one. So the zombie I created with the help from at the airport with the helicopter zombie, where I would walk up on top of the boxes and the helicopter blade takes the top of my head off, and then looking at the guy refueling. I didn't have a lot of other examples to work from.
Right.
And if there had been examples, is that the type of zombie that would have been in this film? So probably I'd cast back to the islands, Haiti, where the legends came from about those original zombies, and that they were probably slow moving, perhaps in something of a stupor, but driven either by something internal or an external direction, or external guidance. Go fetch that or something. So, that's how it kind of ties in, I guess.
Right.
One of the revert back to
what?
Well, as I started talking, you started talking, so I said, go ahead, Sarah.
Well, something that kind of like blew my mind. I'm sure everyone's heard about the people in Florida that are like eating each other's faces and arms and stuff like that. But it was all blamed on drugs. I never thought anything of it until one of my friends was like, well, hey, the government covers up so much stuff. Why not cover up the start of a zombies apocalypse, and maybe it's not really drugs. Maybe these people really have something wrong with them. Maybe they really are zombies eating each other. What do you think about all of that craziness in the news?
Well, I think there aren't really safe drugs at all.
Right.
I mean, there's some things which might have fewer side effects. But I have two opinions there. One is that you give somebody enough of a certain medication, or if they self-medicate themselves for whatever reason, they're liable to do bizarre things which may or may not be in their nature.
Right.
Or could enhance a bad aspect of their nature. I don't know that films have influenced any of that. It's just whatever bizarre fantasy goes into somebody's mind, and then they act it out.
Mhm. Yeah, that's crazy. No, I'm done. Go for it.
Alright. Yeah, I catch little words like, I think that you're like trying to say something, so I shut up for a second, then I start doing the same sound, so. Hence remote radio show.
Right.
But anyway, as far as that, and actually, Sarah, to answer your statement on that and question kind of is, when it gets down into the neurological aspect of what they've been saying is what happens with bath salts is it actually does have real adverse effects on the body as far as it's kind of like cocaine, LSD, and mushrooms all mixed together.
Right.
To where it just, you get superhuman strength, you get enraged. I mean, there's a lot of different effects. And, I mean, it's something that's available to where it's not even technically considered a drug yet, but FDA is going to start regulating a lot of the ingredients in them, which I don't know how they're going to be able to do.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, it is something that definitely, from a psychological standpoint, neurologically it does affect the brain and to where it's uncontrollable acts, and unfortunately some of those have to be violent.
Definitely. So creepy.
But hey, Jim, alright, I gotta ask you, man, I really do. How did you guys do the head cutting off with the helicopter blade scene? I gotta know, because I keep going back and replaying that scene in my mind, and I look at it and I'm like, yeah, that's right, there was no CG back then. There was like minor, but nothing major. How the hell did you guys pull that off?
Well, like any good effect, it took a lot of planning and some background work. It was all done in one take, I'll tell you that. When I worked with Tom Savini on it, I went over to his workshop, which was in his basement of his home at the time in Pittsburgh, and he said, we're going to need to do a complete head cast of you for this. And he put like a sort of a plaster all over the front of my face and top of my head. I had to breathe through a straw for about 20 or 25 minutes until it hardened enough to be removed. And then he did the same with the back until he had the molds ready. They unfortunately called a couple of days later and said, Jim, we got to do it again, and the mold cracked. So,
oh no.
Yeah, well, from that, then he created a replica of my real head and was able to build up a prosthetic on the top of it that would, with a little bit of extra hair, a little bit of beard to widen the face a bit more. And embedded in the top of that was like, I guess sort of a foam type material on the top of the head with tubes embedded in it. And then the top piece itself was actually made to look just like the rest of the head, but it would lift off sort of like a saucer or a plate, and it was cut into chunks. And those chunks were then threaded together with monofilament fishing line with some space between them. So the idea was that at the proper moment at the top, when I reached the top of the boxes, off camera, somebody with monofilament line would yank, and all of those pieces would come out as a series of chunks. The tubes in the top of that were then connected to tubes that ran down my back, down my pant legs, down behind the boxes, where two guys, one of whom was Tom Savini, had these hand fire extinguisher pumps filled with the synthetic blood material, so that at the moment of quasi-impact, they started pumping furiously, and all this blood starts pumping out, squirting out.
Oh my gosh.
And as he had asked me in an earlier interview, were the blades moving at the time? And in my mind, they were not moving the way a regular helicopter blade would move. You can sort of tilt, to some extent the blades anyway. But I was certainly close enough to them. And Thomas said that they were sort of cut in afterward. If the helicopter was running, so the engine noise was real. And even if it was a lazy loop, in my mind, I thought that was, something was going on with the blades, whether they were just drifting. But perhaps one of the clues that they were not going full blast is that you didn't really see a lot of downwind effect. Like the clothes weren't, riffled by the wind a lot for being fast-moving blades. And my hair wasn't, being ruffled a lot by it. So, that might have been a clue. But, so anyway, I have to go with what Tom says. My mind was focused on getting up on those boxes and eating Roger. Helicopter. That was my job at the time.
That's awesome. It sounded like it was a lot of fun. I just acted in my first movie about 2 weekends ago, and I had no idea how much work is behind a single scene. And we didn't even do anything at the time where there was like blood and guts or anything like that, so I didn't even get to experience that part. So I understand a little bit what it's like shooting just scene by scene. It's so much work. How long did it take you to make that movie?
Well, my time at the airport was only 2 days. But again, we had about, over a 2-week period, we had a few days of prep work.
Mm-hmm.
You have to wait for things to dry, harden, become solidified before you can work with them.
Right.
And Tom was working with a lot of other effects at the same time. So that's why I say it was about a 2-week period leading up to that, and then 2 days on the set itself.
Right.
But you mentioned about the shooting, and another kind of unheralded part of filmmaking is the editing. So with independent films, maybe you only have one or two cameras. With major Hollywood, larger studio productions, you have multiple cameras and multiple angles. In independent films, you might have to shoot the same scene over and over and again from a variety of angles. So I was very pleased that they had enough camera angles and enough things going that we just had to do that scene once. I really wanted it to succeed, and I wanted to do my best with it, and I was just pleased that it came off as well as it did. I'm eternally grateful to Tom Savini and George Romero for having me in the scene.
That's awesome.
And Jim, I gotta give you a little plug here. For some of the coolest zombie stuff that you can come across and everything that's going on, Tim's website's really, really cool. It's www.hellozombie.com. Some of the best design t-shirts, I love the shirts on that site and all the rest of the stuff that you got on there. Don't purchase. I mean, I've rocked the Hello Zombie t-shirt a couple times and everybody's like, oh God, I remember that. Yeah, he was so cool. I remember him. Oh, that's big. I love the fans. And people say, well, don't you get tired of it? I said, without the fans, there wouldn't be movies. People wouldn't go to movies. They wouldn't support the conventions. They wouldn't support future movies. But people see, gee, this is so popular. People are coming out to see the actors because they identify with them. But, I love the fans. I really do. When you see what they've meant, what your role has meant to them, and I look at it in the way, it's kind of my gift. When I think of the heroes I had in horror films, and most of them were gone by the time I'd been able to have a car and be able to travel and go somewhere, like Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi and Lon Chaney. They were long gone. So one of the thrills I had was just a couple years ago to see the person who played the creature from the Black Lagoon, Riku Browning.
Oh, wow.
And that was always one of the series, The Creature from the Black Lagoon, Return of the Creature. It always impressed me as a really different kind of monster because people were disturbing him, and he was just kind of responding to it.
Right.
So I always kind of liked the monster rather than the people who were after him. But to me, and I felt that same sort of worshipfulness in terms of the role that he did and what that meant to me. As I see in the eyes of a lot of people who come up and say, "You're the helicopter zombie?" And I say, "Yes." And then they tell me how old they were when they saw it, how many times they've seen the movie, and if they say that was their favorite scene, it's sort of that continuum, sharing that connection, because I feel the same thing for the heroes I had in film, and I still do.
That's awesome.
Well, to give you another real world real quick, there was a guy I was talking to when I started, posting and talking about the show. There's your shout out, Joel. It's Joel Johnson. We were talking about you. And he's one of those guys who's followed your work. I mean, and then he just was like citing everything when we were talking. And he did say he does want to meet you one day. So hopefully, depending on where you are in his area, he'll check out the website and see, and maybe be able to shake hands with you. But it's a real life situation that people come to. Oh God, yeah, blah blah. Jim, he's awesome. I follow his work and love him. And it's, and I love your work too, man.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate it, and I thank you for that. A lot of the more recent films I've done, I've not been a zombie. I did play one in 1224. I had a short cameo in that as a zombie with arrows stuck in me. But in 2008, I did Deadlands 2, Trapped, by Gary Garrick. He was the director. And in that, I played the evil government official behind the zombie uprising. And there were some really nice zombies in that, too. But it was a different take on zombies, and I like what Gary did with it. I hope he's able to get greater financing for his next movies. In fact, Gary and I are going to be doing Haunted Hill in Partlow, Virginia in mid-October. So if anybody's down there, that's a few miles outside of Richmond also. Working with a director like that is just a lot of fun, because somebody who enjoys the genre and puts the dedication and skill into it just to make it special. So I'm not always a zombie, but I still find myself in some of the zombie films.
That's awesome.
What was that screenshot that you sent? I know we talked about it a while, and I apologize, but I can't remember the name of the movie off the top of my head, where you played the evil doctor. You said it would have been
might have been the movie Zombology, and in that there were 3 different directors, independent filmmakers, who each did a short zombie film, or a film about zombies, and then Tiffany Shepis, who is she's just a great lady. She's a screen queen. She's been in dozens and dozens of films. The premise is that she is kidnapped and forced to watch these 3 films. Well, I had a role in one of those 3, which is called A Slight Case of Zombism, and in it I play a doctor who's examining the foot of this person whose wife thinks he's having a problem because he's starting to eat the neighbors. So it's a real good.
Oh, jeez. We have a question. We have a question for you, quick, in the chat room. James wants to know if, Jim, you've ever met or have a story about Terry Bennett, Chicago's Marvin from Shock Theater.
No, I really haven't been much to Chicago, other than in my earlier days working in theater. But unfortunately not. I have not met him, no.
Yeah, he never come to my parts.
I'll have to work my way over there sometime. Well, just give me an invitation to one of the conventions over there in the neighborhood, and I'll pop in. If I'm available, I'll be glad to make it. I love to travel.
Nice.
Yeah, I was thinking about it too, and I know a couple other friends that I have that are like really into it. They've done a couple small local, where it's like Lincoln Park or blah blah, which for all you non-Chicagoans, it's like segments of Chicago is how it's known, in case you don't know. But they've done a couple pub crawls and stuff where they do zombie pub crawls, and what I'm thinking is I don't know, I can't say it's going to be anytime soon because it takes a long time to put it together, but I'll have to hook up with those people who organize the pub crawls and see if we can't do a zombie marathon maybe next year around this time, and see if it doesn't happen to hit the record this time, which I'm sure it probably will when you're down there. Maybe we can do it next year.
That would be so much fun.
Just to give you a thought here, and this was based on the weekend in Scranton, they did do a zombie pub crawl on the Friday night. Saturday morning they had a zombie survival challenge. There was an obstacle course with people being chased by zombies.
Oh my gosh.
The survival center was where it was actually a combination junior senior high school, I guess, where they had used the gymnasium, the cafeteria, and so forth for the vendors and the guests for exhibits, demonstrations, panel discussions. So it was really a great use of the school. But right out in front of it, they had some military vehicles set up and some great signage and a hearse and an apocalypse survival vehicle that somebody had modified. It was really cool. With what's the 5th door in the back that just sort of pops up and there's a machete hanging from it. But it was a lot of fun. It was just a lot of fun. So the people who survived the challenge were able to come to the survival center, and that was the introduction to the whole convention. So it was themed that way. And people had a lot of different activities. There was a demonstration on zombie hand-to-hand combat. How to defend yourself against zombies. So you're on the right track, Matt.
There was that movie Shaun of the Dead, which was movie. I don't know if you ever saw that.
I love it. Absolutely love it.
When they're throwing the records at him in the lawn. I love that movie too.
That's so
that one.
funny.
Keep that one. Keep that one. Yes.
Yeah. that ties into the slow moving zombie thing.
And Zombieland 2 was a great show. I really enjoyed that one. Woody Harrelson and some of the other folks who were in it. I thought there was just a great setup of zombie movies. And you know, you got to be able to laugh at yourself because that's no, it's not it's a serious genre in some ways, but that's what makes it fun. Being able to step back and take a look at it like Shaun of the Dead or Zombieland. Those are so well done.
Mm-hmm.
And there's enough buy-in that you can say, okay, things are going well, and you have sympathy for the characters. But it was just great to be able to sit back and enjoy a film like that.
Yeah, that is so funny. Now, growing up, you're talking a little bit about which monster movies that you grew up with. Did you have a favorite?
Well, I guess I was always partial to Dracula,
Mm-hmm.
and I played Dracula in a couple theatrical productions. I directed it in another production.
Oh, wow.
There's a certain fascination with that character. Some of it is the history, what is a vampire, going back to, Count Vlad, Elizabeth Bathory, and, bathing in blood. Some of these historical creatures or characters that are the basis for some of those legends.
Right.
And just as the Haitian or zombie or island zombies were kind of a basis for later spring-offs, people can use their imagination based on what that original bit of history was and say, I bet I could modify that and turn it into a movie. So I think if you go back into history and find the basis of some of the stories and some of the legends, everything from werewolves to mummies, are there actual instances of these things happening, or the idea that they could happen? What makes them real for us?
Right.
Or do we simply like to be scared every once in a while? But again, scared in a safe environment.
Right.
In the movie theater or in the comfort of our own home, we'll watch a scary movie, maybe over and over again. Because we don't hopefully walk around scared every day, but every once in a while, hey, it's kind of a different feeling, it's a different chill. And if you can share that feeling with other people who enjoy it at the same time, that's kind of a fun idea too.
Yeah, I think Matt and I both have gone past the movie stage to now walking around haunted locations trying to get scared.
Has that been happening for you?
I do not get scared very often. I'm sure, Matt, you don't either.
No, I mean, I've been startled a few times. It's always, Jim, you actually, and when we were in Virginia, we did Western Plantation, you and I were walking around together.
Yeah. Yes.
And unfortunately, I wasn't able to bring all my stuff because flying, I didn't want to, I don't think with the amount of stuff I know with the amount of stuff I have, I couldn't afford the bag fees. So I just brought a couple things, and Jim and I actually walked around and did a couple of EVP sessions and a whole bunch of other stuff in Western Plantation. Unfortunately, I didn't catch anything, but I don't know, Jim, maybe in your opinion, fortunately, I didn't catch anything. I don't know, it's up to you.
Well, the good thing was I don't think anything followed us home. Yeah, that's something you want to avoid in any case. But it was interesting, too, talking with the folks who are the caretakers of the place, of the Western Plantation. And we talked to the four of them that evening. And one of them said, this is the room she will not go in. And they talked about the difficulties of keeping help there because help would go upstairs to make the beds nice. They didn't like the way that woman was threatening them. What woman? There was nobody else upstairs. Oh, well, then they're not coming back.
Oh, geez.
So obviously people have had some pretty dramatic experiences there. And and when you pop in, maybe you'll see it, maybe you won't. That doesn't make, if you don't see it, doesn't mean it's not having some sort of presence and some phenomena going on.
Right,
It just means
exactly.
that at that moment, it's not.
Exactly.
But it was great going through that with that, and well, that was kind of our getting together a bit during that time, and getting to see what the paranormal investigators used in terms of equipment. That was my first time going through a location with the idea that the test equipment, would be set up to record, as opposed to I'm feeling the vibes here or I'm not feeling the vibes here.
Mhm. Well, that's cool. So did you have a good time doing it?
Well, yeah, I'm kind of a nut for history, and obviously with the films I've enjoyed and the sort of the history I had,
Right.
I've always been a little partial towards the supernatural.
That's awesome. Very cool.
Actually, I believe I do have some of the pictures. If not all posted. I mean, I know I have them. I just don't know if I posted all of them yet. But since we're talking about the Western Plantation, I'll definitely post them on my page and all that, so everybody can see where we're talking about. If there is any interest in the paranormal for who's listening right now. Yeah, no, it was definitely a really, really cool location. I'd love to do it with you. And I may say something a little embarrassing about Jim is he was I was waiting for him to hop up and down and clap his hands is how excited he seemed like he was just in there and hearing about the history and everything. Like he just had that little kidness about him.
That's awesome.
So,
That's
it
how
was a good time, and I appreciate people who really are taking a serious look at a lot of the phenomena that occurs around us, and not just dismissing it, but saying, what is this, and how does it affect people, and how is it affecting me? So, I applaud what you're doing, and I commend you to keep on doing it.
Thank you. And thank you so much for
I don't
joining
know about
us
you, sir.
tonight. Huh?
I said, I don't know about you, sir, but I'm not going anywhere in this field, are you?
Oh, hell no. Hell no. I live and breathe it. I love it. I'll tell you what, I am
Yeah.
so excited to get to Mexico and start doing some investigating down there. It's gonna be awesome.
When are you going down there?
Second week of October.
Are these ancient sites or something more recent?
I'm going to, hopefully, fingers crossed, get into the Mayan pyramids, which would be amazing. And then there's some stories about some creatures that live out in the forests there and stuff. So hopefully I'll get to check out a couple. The Aluxes, I think is how you say it. They're like little people that steal your children if you've been bad, kind of thing.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm definitely excited to check that out. That should be a lot of fun. But thank you again so much for coming on tonight. It was absolutely amazing talking to you, and that hour went by so fast.
Well, it did, and I want to thank you very much for, inviting me to be a part of the program, and I really enjoyed speaking with you tonight. Hope I didn't talk too much, but I really enjoyed, the opportunity to talk about what we do, about the films, a little bit about the zombie backgrounds, and about the paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
So, thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you, Matt, for having me aboard, and I wish you well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Have a good night, Matt.
Okay.
Thank you, Jim. Yeah, and again, since, I don't know if he's still on or if he hung up or not, but, helicopter, HELI, zombie.com is his website. Jim's he's a great guy, like I said. I mean, had some great experiences. The first time I met him was in Virginia, and we just, we hit it off from there. We we talk a lot, just as you can see, and it's, I mean, he's got stories, and I've never been bored by a single one of them. So,
Definitely.
yeah, and if anybody's down in the Richmond, Virginia area and can get down to King's Dominion, he'll be down there for the zombie walk, and also on with my friends, Ken Bellows and Ray Rucker, KB and Big Ray from Ghost Rest Radio out of Virginia. They're going to be doing a live broadcast, and Jim will be on it. So, if you look up Ghost Rest Radio on Facebook, you can listen to Jim again. So, yeah.
Sounds great.
Awesome talk.
Definitely. Wow, alright, from zombies to paranormal, this is a perfect ease into it since we already started the topic. We have Jason Gates with us from Haunted Collector. Hey Jason, how are you doing?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good, thanks for joining us tonight.
What was it?
So thanks for joining us tonight.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me. And again, we got that remote thing to where it's talk, can't hear, so.
I know. What?
Those awkward pauses.
I know. So how are you doing? Did you have a good week?
Yeah, I had a great week. How about you guys?
Yeah, I'm glad to be home.
Yeah, me too, and I didn't even leave town. I know the feeling, man.
Yeah, you must do a lot of traveling with the TV show that you do, Haunted Collector.
Yeah, I tell you, I'm enjoying my time home right now because soon I'm going to be back on the road, so.
Right.
I am soaking it all up. And yeah, usually, I mean, last season we were gone for probably a good 4.5 months.
Oh, wow.
Only coming home a couple times, so it's definitely a haul.
Right. You definitely have to have a love for travel to be in this field.
Something like that. You gotta learn to love it.
Oh, there you go.
No, it's cool. I actually really enjoy the road. It's just, it
gets tiring.
It's an adventure, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, Jason, here's the question. Speaking of travel, as far as the shows, and not just your show, but any of the shows, but I know you'd have an answer directly about yours. As far as when you guys are getting ready to leave, you get a case and you have to, say, go to Arizona, LA or something like that. What do you guys actually, as far as travel, what do you bring? I mean, is it, you show up to the airport and there's like a semi-truck full of equipment and all that, so, I mean, like how does that work as far as the travel aspect and what you can and can't bring? Well, pretty much once the season starts shooting, we're out on the road. So I'm actually based out of LA, and the Zappis clan, they're all based out of Connecticut. But pretty much, I mean, we go to the first location, it could be anywhere, let's say it's Florida. And, I just take what I need, basically what I can put in the suitcase on my back. And then, yeah, I mean, the whole production crew, they have, they rent out a bunch of vans. We have a whole caravan that basically drives around the country with all the camera equipment. Brian, the tech manager, has his Pelican full of all the gadgets and whatnot. And, I mean, sometimes we fly to locations, which is obviously harder because they got to load up all the equipment. But a lot of times the cases will be, they're set up logistically so that they're very close to each other. So we'll drive from one to the other and basically just do that until the entire season's been completed.
Wow, that's a lot of driving.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I've seen a couple episodes from Haunted Collector. I don't have cable, so it's been hard for me to watch any, but the ones that I have seen are very interesting. What got you interested in this field to start?
Ever since I was a little kid, I wanted so badly to, experience something paranormal. So, gosh, by the time I was probably around 12, 13 years old, I would kind of go out on these solo investigations. I'd look up what the local legends were, and basically head to these locations a lot of times, they were
And so I try to go out there and see, if I could make something happen, or if the legend was indeed true.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, honestly, nothing much happened until later in my life. Which is funny because I would say nothing really happened when I was looking hard for it. That started happening when I wasn't looking for it at all. So kind of interesting.
Oh wow. What's been, well, actually, quickly, we have a question already for you in the chat room.
Yeah.
What is the strangest energy that you felt or discovered from an item, and what was the item's past?
Oh, wow. See, from an item, I would probably say there was an episode, for anybody that's seen it, we were at a Spirit Springs episode, and we found a Indian fetish doll out in the woods, which was crazy one.
Oh my gosh.
That Brian and Chris actually found this thing. But I mean, if you've seen the show, John's reaction was just crazy. He was freaking out, dropping an F-bomb every 2 seconds. Don't touch it, don't touch it, don't touch it. It was out of control.
Oh my
but
god.
I'll tell you, that thing, that doll, definitely, I don't get scared too often, but that definitely, there was something about it that genuinely creeped me out.
Mm-hmm.
And further than that, this is really weird. About 2 days after that case, I hadn't talked to my family, my sister, anything about what's been going on whatsoever. They didn't even know a state of it. But my sister calls me up saying she's had a nightmare. And I'm like, okay. So she starts to tell me, and she basically described the exact scene where we were at. They found the object under this tree that had fallen over. And she said, yeah, you were out in the woods, and there was this tree or some kind of hole or something, and you were inside of it. And all of a sudden, hands started coming out of your mouth. And there was a Native American woman standing next to you, screaming. And I'm like, and that honestly gave me the chills.
You just gave me goosebumps.
Yeah, like, I can't even tell you, like, I'm very skeptical about a lot of things, and for her to come out with no prior knowledge, basically describe the scene, and, I mean, it was a Native American doll that we found, and she, some Native American woman, scene, everything, like, and the fact that, hands were coming out of my mouth, it was very creepy.
Definitely.
Very, very creepy.
Oh my
so,
gosh.
If that answers your question, that doll definitely gave me some bad energy.
Oh my gosh. Dolls creep me out, just normal dolls. I can't imagine that. That's so scary.
Yeah, I agree with you there. As opposed to Sarah, I pretty much watch every single episode of the show that you guys have, and you're right, I think the only 2 major times that I've heard John drop the F-bomb like that was that episode, and also the one with the Ouija board in the attic. That's right. Oh God, the Ouija board. Oh, that's so funny. And, I mean, you see it, so that reaction on my face that you saw, I looked like exactly like trouble. That was not because of any fear from the Ouija board. That was fear from, oh God, John's gonna kill me.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, scared up. He's like, don't even touch that thing. And we're sitting there, I'm holding it. I'm like, oh God, serious. It's in my hair right now, man. Yeah, I mean, there was so much on camera that you didn't get to see. It was very interesting, but yeah, that was a fun one.
That's crazy.
I know from certain other shows too. How much, as far as you guys, do you have any more control over what airs than, like, I know Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures, like those guys, they once it's recorded and everything, and production's done with it, there's very little input from the actual cast members, but I didn't know if the way that your show is run, if you guys have a little more input, as far as it being different involving objects and location versus just location. Unfortunately, no. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's the nature of, I wish we did, but we pretty much have no control over what makes it on, any of the edits, anything like that. In fact, we don't even we're there, we experience it, but we don't even see it or hear about it until you guys watch it on TV as well. So a lot of times it's, pretty surprising what is shown and what's not.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's so many things that are not shown because it takes about 3 days to shoot a location. 1 day for the baseline, research, and then investigation. And so, I mean, we're shooting about 12 more hours a day. So that's, do the math, a lot of hours. And that's only one location. You have 2 locations per episode. You have 6 days of shooting for one episode, and that episode totals, 45 minutes.
Right.
So the amount of material that is not seen is crazy. And a lot of times we'll have to tell people, because a lot of people will be like, they found it too quick, or they'll say, I don't understand, why didn't they look into this? And a majority of the time, you just don't see it because it can't make the cut.
That makes sense. That's crazy. How is it working with John Zaffis?
Great. I mean, the guy is, he's the wise old man that gets grumpy when he doesn't have his coffee. No, he's a huge source of knowledge. I mean, coming into this, I've learned so much from him. I came into this more as a skeptic / problem solver type of person. From him, I've kind of learned the importance of, basically balancing the logical and scientific with the spiritual.
Right. That's awesome.
Well, see, the one thing I love about your guys' team and structure is that it's not like everybody has their own expertise and isn't, it's not biased where you guys are like arguing and stuff. Like when you and Brian are working together, I mean, he's more of the tech side, and yeah, I mean, he's an investigator also. But in talking with him, like, that's his specialty is tech. And then, like, everybody has their own niche that they fall into, but I think that you guys mesh well together, whether or not you, in the, 72 hours of footage we don't see, if you guys argue and bicker and all that stuff, whatever, but as on the investigation, it seems like it's very thorough and very professional, and a little bit of joking here and there, but it seems pretty much to the point, which is, in my opinion, more entertaining. It's more of a scientific-based entertainment show.
Yeah. No, I mean, the team works great together. I love working with every single person. I love working with Brian. We tend to kind of see eye to eye on a lot of things. And yeah, I mean, there is a lot more joking going on than you see. I mean, when we're doing a case, it's always about doing the case, getting to the bottom of the problem and everything. But there's a lot of joking that gets cut out. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I'm not sure what it is. Just depends on who you talk to. But no, I love working with those guys, and I think, like you said, everybody works well together. We all work off each other.
That's awesome. It's very important to be able to click with the people that you work with, because it shows too in the TV show. Like, if you're not clicking with somebody, then that tension is there. So it's awesome that you do have that with everybody.
Yeah, I mean, being together so much, I mean, there's always tension, but we're trying to help people out here. We're in somebody's house,
Right.
So there's a certain respect and responsibility that comes with that.
Right.
Or even if there's a tension, you gotta overcome it, just not for the sake of the show, but for the sake of the client.
Right. That's awesome.
So, okay, and as far as I think this is something that not a lot of people take into consideration is once you go public and you're actually on TV, that if somebody, obviously if somebody happens to turn on the TV and you guys are on, or they've been watching ghost shows or paranormal investigation shows or whatever, and they think that they may have activity in their house, that it's not just, it's hard to actually just call you guys and say, hey, can you come check out my house?
Yeah.
Like how many leads do you guys actually get? Which I'm not looking for a specific number here, but I mean, is it just staggering the amount of stuff that's going on? Or like, and can't get back to the people, or do you guys have? I know a couple other people I've talked to. They have scouts, like local scout teams, that'll go out and investigate a location for them that they trust. Like, being the member of the Taft family, they send out teams, 5, 6, 7 times to try and validate before they'll actually have it on the show. Is it kind of the same thing, or?
Yeah, similar. It depends on, if you're strictly speaking about the show, there is a team that scouts, because they have to, it goes out to the location, and the cases we look for we're looking for object-based hauntings. Now, in our own work, because we're all part of different teams and everything, John has his own team, Brian has his own team, I have my own team, we do all sorts of different cases, but as far as the show, they look specifically for object-based cases. So they'll try to find cases where maybe somebody's brought something into their home and there's activity centered around that room that they brought the object into, etc. And then, they'll go down, kind of scope it out, make sure everything's legit. Obviously, because, production costs and whatnot, you can't just go down there and find out it's a total hoax or whatnot.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, how many?
There's definitely a lot of work that goes into before we actually get there to investigate.
Mm-hmm. Were there any times that you did show up to a location and there really wasn't anything there?
Yes. You guys are both investigators, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can show up at a location and you can have phenomena occur, or you can show up there and absolutely nothing will happen.
Right.
And it's the same with us. We're there so long, though, you see the highlights. So there's some nights, we go over the baseline and we'll get hardly anything. Sometimes there's a lot of activity.
Mhm. So if you do show up to a location and there isn't anything, you still just film it?
I'll say that again, sorry.
If you show up to a location and there is no activity, you still film it and air it, or do you just move on to a new location?
We're still going to film, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still going to be, that's really up to the network. We don't really have control over that, the production. But, we film it. If they don't want to air it, that's up to them.
Right.
But we do our job.
Well, I told Brian when I was talking to him, same thing. If you happen to ever find yourself in this area of the Midwest, and you're having a bad filming, like you show up to places and you're not getting anything, blah, blah, let me know, because I have two that will blow your mind.
Awesome.
And I don't know, and I have no, like, the one I know does have to do with objects, I just have no ideas, this is the homeowner was telling me this about a whole bunch of objects. I have no idea, what's going on with that, and it's happening in 5 different houses. So, on the area, and also there's one up in Wisconsin, they're both private residences. Well, one's a private block almost, and then the other one's a private residence. But they have a lot of stuff going on, and it's an old turn-of-the-century house where there's stuff buried in the walls. A lot of stuff that you guys find, and even prior to that, I think it's 1870s, I want to say. Well, I've been up there about 5 or 6 times, and I've had attachments, I've gotten EVPs, we've left the area completely, left equipment running, and it just sounds like the place erupts. It's an abandoned barn in the back of a house, and I know that there was nobody in there, but it's, I'll talk to you about it later on. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but, if you find out, or if you end up anywhere around here, let me know, and I'll hook you up with the homeowners. It's definitely worth a check.
Cool, sounds good, man. Yeah, just, you can probably just write down Facebook or something like that.
Yeah.
You need info.
Alright. I don't know if Eric caught this or not, but I do have one question.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you get this all the time. Any relation to Josh Gates?
I do get it all the time. How should I answer? No. Just brothers of the Sci-Fi Network.
blonde hair. That sounds like great. Hold on. Same last name, both blonde hair, and both on the same network? Yeah, I gotta ask this. I think they should do a night of Destination Truth and Money Collector and have like the Gates night or something. Or have you investigate together as the Gates brothers. Yeah, that sounds good too, man.
That'd be so much fun.
Only on sci-fi. You know, with the way networks run these days, if they run out of ideas, I'm sure they may approach you guys with that.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm ultra into outdoor stuff, too, so it works out.
That would be funny.
An outdoor item collecting show. You want to go hunting with Bigfoot and, you know, some of those cases.
There you go.
Yes, and now we're transporting the object in a canoe.
Maybe Bigfoot carries around a doll. Something to sleep with. Haunted Indian doll.
Bigfoot. Yeah. Bigfoot teddy bear. So what's your major, like, if you had to say, because I know every investigator has at least one that minorly sticks out a little bit more. The one situation that happened to you that you will never forget over anything. Like somebody said, what was your most, well, here you go, I'm saying, what was your most groundbreaking, like thing for you that was just like, holy crap, I'm half skeptic now, and I'm even leaning more towards believer at this point?
Just to clarify that first, too, I want to say that I do believe in the phenomena. So in a sense, I'm a believer. My skepticism just comes with a lot of the reports. You know, because a good majority of the times it can be explained. But I do believe. Anyway, that being said, oh my God, the funny thing is honestly, probably the most eye-opening experiences I've had that didn't happen when I was on an investigation. That actually happened in my home, which is actually what got me. Was the bridge between when I was younger, just kind of going out by myself, that curiosity, and to really, you know, joining a team, and diving into this was I had some reoccurring experiences in my house. That actually happened about 15 times, which included the same sequence of events over and over, with starting if I'd wake up with a shadow basically on my ceiling above me, which would move across the ceiling down the wall, and my bed would start shaking.
Oh, wow.
And then I just get this very strange feeling. But it was never fear. I was never scared. It was just surprising. It got to the point where it happened so often that I would just wake up and say, gosh darn it, this again, I just want to go to bed. And I'd get up off the bed, check to see if my dog was shaking the bed, if the floor was shaking, see if there was any shadows, anything like that. I was never able to explain it. And in fact, probably the height of it was I was on a road trip and my car broke down. And this had only occurred in my house. But I was on this road trip, my car broke down, I was in a hotel. And I woke up to the same thing. The shadow, the bed shaking. But then I looked over to my left and I saw a blue sphere just kind of floating through the room. And I just sat there staring at it, closed my eyes, opened them again, it's still there. And I'm like, gosh darn it, my car broke down, I just want to go to bed.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, interestingly enough, I never felt like it was anything negative. I was never frightened. It was just you know, incredible. Never been able to explain it. So, I mean, that's kind of, I guess I would say that was probably my most eye-opening sequence of things.
Have you ever laid out any like voice recorders or anything to try to catch it?
I have, and I didn't honestly capture too much, although this is really interesting. I don't think I've actually ever shared this
Really?
I asked John about this, and he said sometimes just the recognition.
Right.
We'll put something at peace or stop the activity. So
Right.
very interesting, very interesting.
Wow.
I haven't been able to explain it. So yeah, hope that answers the question. So do you get a lot of for your own private team? Do you get a lot of investigations in your local area? As far as like people actually being able to come forward and say whether it's businesses or private residences or whatever it be, is your local area pretty active, or is it kind of a little bit stagnant?
I live in Los Angeles, so I mean there's a lot of I guess you could say energy here. We don't do private residences with the home team. We have Linda Vista, of course, which we've done a number of times. Queen Mary. We did do one private residence, which was pretty insane. Actually, one of my favorites I've done with the team was Devil's Gate, which is this drainage area below JPL that it was rumored to be, a gate to hell, which I hear a lot. There's so many gates to hell in the world, in every town, I think. But that was actually just an awesome investigation adventure. We kind of sneaked down there, hiking. There was police helicopters flying over, not for us, thank God, but we were all scared. Like, oh my God. I'm not even sure if we were trespassing, but if we were, I didn't say we were there. But the place is just creepy, and actually we got a couple EVPs there. We got a couple unknown light anomalies on video, and this was nothing paranormal. It was just so creepy. The way the moon shines on the rock there, it actually makes the shape of a devil-looking head, beard, and everything. I couldn't get a picture of it, but I mean, it's perfect. It has horns, everything.
Oh my
so it's a really
gosh.
creepy place.
That's
Awesome.
crazy.
One of the things that me and my friend Mark do, because, and I'm sure Sarah already knows where I'm going with this, but the Chicago area is so tight-lipped about anything paranormal. I mean, even the last Ghost Adventure show that was on Friday, where they did Baptist Grove Cemetery and they did Excalibur nightclub, which Baptist Grove has been called one of the most haunted cemeteries in the world, but it's owned by Cook County Park District, so we don't let anybody in there. Fortunately, they got to go in, and actually, Ursula Bielski, one of my dear friends, she was on that episode when they did Excalibur nightclub, and I investigated with her a lot, and she's a phenomenal historian, and it gets kind of frustrating for us in this area to where, she has these plugins and everything, and, like, she has that Hollywoodness to her to where she's been on Ghost Adventures a few times. She was on guest host on Paranormal Challenge when that show was on. And
Which episode was that?
I think it was actually Linda Vista.
What? Are you serious? That would be really fun. What was her name? Because my team, Paranormal XP, was on that episode.
Yeah, it's Ursula Bielski.
Oh, she was!
Yeah. She's one of my dear friends, and they actually, I was supposed to, and I couldn't make it in time, and I was actually upset because she was having a party tonight. I was supposed to do the show from there with her and a bunch of people like Jane Ladwig and just a guest with Pete Crapia, who was part of the restoration project for Bachelor's Grove Cemetery. So I was actually going to do the show from there, but I got off work at 7 and I couldn't make it there by 8 our Central Time. So I had to come home and do it. If any of you guys are listening, love you guys. Wish I could be there. But yeah, no, and somebody even with like Ursula's going to show approach places, and it's almost like an instant no. And it made her Daly and Ron Manuel and like all those guys, like it's all government stuff where they just don't want that tie to the city. And with a city like Chicago, the history, you figured it'd be kind of welcome with open arms. But that's the only reason I asked that. It's kind of shut down around here.
Yeah, man, it is very unfortunate, you know. It's not good for the fields. So, you know, a lot of the shows can get in because the town does get publicity stipulations, whatnot. But, I mean, for the field of research, it's terrible because it's such a narrow view, you know.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you heard or not, you know who Jeff Mudgett is, right?
Yeah, actually, I just met him. Small world, man. That's so funny.
Yeah, Jeff's actually one of my really, really good friends, and amongst a whole line of other people, we were signed up, and Susan herself who's actually running the board right now, has worked her ass off, and I don't know if Jeff told you or not, but we're still, you know, pumping away trying to get into the post office in 63rd and Wallace to investigate the first time ever the H.H. Holmes case.
That's right, yeah, yeah.
My dog.
So, yeah, that's
My dog is tearing up a toilet paper roll right now. I'm trying to be like super quiet and listen, but he's like, my room is covered in toilet paper right now.
Oh, that's awesome. We should post a picture of it.
Oh, jeez. Okay, back to topic. Sorry.
So so you guys have not been able to get in?
well, what happened, and then I'm sure you've experienced this too, is that it had to go up the ranks, especially being a post office in a quote unquote, we'll call it government facility. That, you know, stuff happens here and there, and there have been people that have gone in, but we're still waiting to do the full investigation. Yeah. I mean, we got some stuff going on. It's still in the works. I mean, it's definitely going to happen, and I can't wait for it. I mean, it's, you know, with the amount of equipment and Ursula is actually my partner in investigating, and what we're doing, I'm going to do a little spoiler for everybody right now. We're going to do an old school, back in the day, like, you know, real old, trying to figure out paranormal phenomena investigation, to where we're not going to use hardly any at all modern day equipment. I actually purchased a telegraph, which has been converted to run on battery power, or see if that's going to trigger anything. I mean, like, we're going back in the day equipment.
That's awesome, man.
So yeah, it's gonna be. Well, if you just met Jeff, I'm sure he told you about, and I can't say the full thing, but you probably get the gist of it. The Chicago event that's coming up, Chicago Growth Conference that's coming up on the 6th, that he has pretty much some really groundbreaking information that he's going to unveil at the event.
Oh, cool, man. Yeah, unfortunately, I met him, but we didn't get to talk very long at the Las Vegas Paranormal just, gosh, it was a couple weeks ago. But yeah, actually, we wrote each other afterwards, basically saying that, like, oh man, I wish I could talk to you more. But yeah, that's cool, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's October 6th, and I believe that it's going to be videotaped and everything, and we're going to broadcast it because it's definitely something that needs to be told and needs to be seen. So I'm sure that once it is, then, I mean, you know, Jeff works in mysterious ways, as you know. He's kind of a I love Jeff. He's awesome. But no, he has some information and stuff, and if you don't happen to catch it because you got stuff going on, I'll definitely forward it to you. But it's going to be cool. It's probably something that you guys are going to want to check out, and if in fact that happens and it works out, we
sounds
Um,
awesome.
so,
You
did
have...
you leak anything about season 3?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask that.
Unfortunately, I can't. What can I say? What can I say? You know, honestly, I don't have that much information at the moment. It supposedly is a go, which is good. I would. I'm hesitant to say it, but I'll just say it anyway. It should be happening fairly soon. Unfortunately, that's about all I can say.
Darn it.
As far as the meeting for taping or airing, for taping, we haven't started filming. Okay, but I'm thinking that it's probably going to be airing not too far away.
Awesome.
Not too long.
We definitely look forward to that. Do you have any locations that you would like to do that you haven't done yet?
Oh my gosh, anywhere international. I was actually really hoping that we did Hawaii this last season, which was incredible.
Nice.
But I mean, there's so many great places. I mean, there's great places everywhere, but you know, I've actually never personally been out of the country, so I would just love to get out of the country, explore, you know, different cultures, and it's always really interesting too with different cultures and different religious beliefs and whatnot.
Mhm.
Kind of the differences in the hauntings and kind of what's behind it, especially with John around because he's an expert in those types of things. So
Right. Yeah.
very, very interesting.
That's awesome.
So in the I know you're talking about the Dallin stuff that you guys found, but what besides that, like anything like Civil War or something around that, like in the kind of Bible Belt Civil War area, what is the one thing that you guys found that you almost had there's no question about this has to be causing it. Oh my goodness, let's see, in that area. Sorry to hit you with hard ones. No. All right, man. Trying to think. Let's see. We had just trying to think. In that area, we did find. You know, that is a hard question. We found the bloodletting tool. Do you remember that? Yeah, the little three-prong thing that. Yeah. And yes. It's hard for me to say. You know, we believe that this is what's causing the problem. It's hard for me personally to say, like, for sure that I know this is causing the problem. And a lot of times, it may be contributing to the problem, but it may not be the complete root of the problem. Depends on the location. Depends on what's going on there. There could be, you know, there could be something attached to it, but that may not end the haunting. It may alleviate some of the activity, but it may not end it. So I can't say for sure, but you know, that was kind of given the oh my gosh, the Masonic Lodge was used as a Civil War hospital. These surgeries were performed there when we found that there. I mean, that was pretty crazy.
That's a great building.
It was used for bloodletting, you know.
Mhm. I did an investigation sort of there at the Masonic Lodge just a couple months ago. The building was crazy.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Did you get to meet? Oh my gosh, I don't know his name's slipping my mind right now. I think it was Bill. Bill by chance?
Possibly, I don't remember. We did it with Joshua Warren.
Okay. I know Josh.
Yeah, Josh is awesome. He's a cool guy.
Yeah, this guy that works there is just incredible. He actually had some amazing stories, which I don't think made it to the air. Where he actually he's an older fellow, and he collapsed in one of the halls, and I forgot exactly what was going on, but his life was in danger.
And during conducting the interview with him, he actually started crying because it was such a deep experience for him, which then caused me to start serial tour. Of course, it didn't make the show or whatever, but it was, you know, it was just a really cool story. And,
wow.
really good guy.
That's amazing.
So, do you guys capture anything yet?
Not that I'm, well, we got, actually that's not true. We had a couple voice recorders going and we heard some voices out in the back room in the basement, where all of Joshua Warren's stuff is. And we started following it because, like, we heard it in one room and it was loud, like you could hear it with your ears. It sounded like a child. So we started following it and it just led us back, like, into this really, really dark boiler room type thing. And it was crazy. It was just me and Antonia, and then we went to bring other people back there, but then as soon as there was like a group of people, it stopped. You couldn't hear it anymore. That was pretty crazy.
Antonia, does she do radio shows as well?
Yeah, she does. With
That's so funny. Such a small world.
I know.
She one she was with Riley, right?
Yes, with Riley Black.
Yeah, she did one, I think, a week or two ago with them. That is so funny.
Nice.
Jeff Ledger, Ursula, and Antonia.
That's awesome.
Hey, you know, the one thing I've always wondered too, and I don't know if anybody else has or not, when you're watching the production of the show, and when you guys, and John approaches the client and says, what do you want to do with this object? And they say remove it. And then they have that little word blurb on like, since this object is left, there has been no activity, it's increased, it's been, you know, it's decreased. Who actually does the follow-up for that? Is that just the network that calls and says, hey, what's going on? Or is it actually one of the team members that will call and say, hey, what's been going on since? And is there any background research involved with that to find out, like, is it over days, like, hey, let us know in the next 5 days what happens, or how does that work?
Yeah, to be perfectly honest with you, I'm not sure. Like I said, hey, you know, we're there, but as far as the edits go and everything, we don't know. So when I saw that, I was like, great, that's awesome. But I don't know if it was, John didn't mention anything about it to me, so I'm not sure if it's John or if it's the network or who it is. Obviously somebody is doing it, but I'm not sure who it is. I would guess it's probably from the production company is probably calling and checking. Either that or John.
Nice.
Yeah, I was definitely unsure of who was doing a follow-up on that, and if you went back and did a follow-up investigation afterwards and said, hey, yeah, you know, we're not really getting anything after this, or if it was just producers.
I wish we could do that. I mean, that would be awesome. Unfortunately, yeah, you know, I can say the team itself is not going back or doing anything like that, but somebody is definitely calling and checking up. And I mean, in a perfect world, if it wasn't a show, you know, we'd be able to do that.
Right.
But, you know what I'm saying?
That would
Yep.
be completely time consuming, I bet, too, with just all the work that you have already and then double backing on everything. Seems overwhelming.
Yeah, I mean, it's the unfortunate thing of the shows, you know. I mean, one, like I said, you don't get to see everything that happens.
Right.
And then two, because it is controlled by a network, there's certain things that we get, I guess, neutered on, for lack of a better word. I mean, so, yes, sir.
Yeah, that's what I was talking to the people about too. Is, you know, that anybody who wants to criticize any of the shows, I'm like, you really can't, because there's really no artist interaction after the filming's done. It's maybe a tad bit, you know, here and there, but otherwise, it pretty much just comes down to the network production crew, and if they give you yes or no on the final cut, they may override it. They may say, yeah, you know, let's go back and
so much that so much great evidence, so many great moments that are not seen that happen behind the camera, and it's so frustrating.
Right. Do you ever bring along like any of your own cameras, so if something isn't aired, you could like YouTube it?
Usually Brian usually brings his camera, and kind of on our free time we'll go explore and do things like that for sure. But honestly, we don't have too much free time.
Right.
Usually we're shooting all day, but any chance we do get, we try to go.
That's cool.
A couple times we were lucky enough to go to oh my gosh, where'd we go? I'll have to come back to that because I completely forgot. But we were able to visit a bunch of really cool locations on our days off, going kind of side adventures, which was great.
Nice.
Did you have a question? Oh, go ahead.
I actually just had a question that was posted to me, and I meant to ask it earlier, and luckily my friend Dane reminded me of it. Have you ever encountered like an evil entity or anything like that? And did your production team ever encounter anything like actually on site, or even if not, just personally in your own investigation? And how was it something you had to deal with, or was it something that was just there and it was gone? Just wondering.
Personally, I haven't encountered anything I would consider evil. I know we investigated the Grand Midway Hotel, and Brian had done an investigation there with his team Scared there previously. They had experienced something that they thought, could have been of demonic nature. In the room, you saw it with the really creepy paintings. I mean, there's a whole backstory behind it, but they got a really incredible EVP out of there, and also, I believe they had something else. Basically, their team agreed that whatever was in there was demonic. When we were there, we didn't experience anything similar to that, but that's probably the closest we came. And given I'd never experienced anything like that, I was kind of nervous going in there, knowing the backstory.
Mhm.
But also curious. Oh yes, and then as far as the other half of your question too, we had a sound guy, who wasn't a believer. He never worked a show like this before, and he's got his whole sound rig on him. It's connected to a harness using a carabiner, so this thing's not going to come off. It's latched on good. I forgot what location it was, but we were there, and during filming, his bag lifted up. Somehow the carabiner detached, and his bag fell to the floor.
Oh my gosh.
And this guy freaked out. Like, he was almost in tears. I mean, he'd never experienced anything like this before. He couldn't explain it. He's like, oh my god. So we definitely had some things. We went to the one location where a lot of the crew went down to the basement, and they came back, and the hatch had closed. They didn't hear it close, anything like that. We had another guy, a really big guy, that he got scared a bunch of times. The asylum, he had some things happen there, so it was kind of interesting seeing this crew, mostly based out of Hollywood, whatever, that have worked on a lot of shows, movies, stuff like that, kind of coming into this different world and experiencing it for themselves.
Mhm.
Well, do you remember the episode? And I know it wasn't it was Ghost Hunters, and I believe it was in California when they were doing one of the hospitals, and they were walking through the death tunnels, and it wasn't Ghost Hunters. I'm trying to remember who exactly it was, but the sound guy had his bag lift up and hit him in the face, and he fell to the ground, and then refused to go back in, which it reminded me of what you just said. Obviously, it wasn't the same location, but that's that there was something of that mass that was lifted, and you know, detached stuff or knocked him off his feet or whatever. That's kind of interesting.
That actually reminds me of another another story. It seems like, you know, a lot of times the sound guys, which makes sense, that get messed with. One of our other sound guys, also, you know, a non-believer, we were filming, and he starts saying, like, okay, everybody needs to be quiet, So everybody's quiet, and he's like, who's talking, blah, 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 blah. And he goes around, we look around, everybody shut up, we're trying to film. And then he's like, wait a second.
Oh my
There's a whole
gosh.
conversation going on, and he just starts quiet, man. Nobody was talking. He's like, I got a whole conversation going on right now.
Oh my goodness.
It's so funny.
That's
Well,
awesome.
one time we were using like beryllium lights and you know, gold lights and you know, stuff that's so super sensitive. And it's obviously, I probably wouldn't know the difference.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're close to wrapping up here. Do you have any events or anything coming up that you're doing that you want to plug?
There's a chance. There's an event, Paranormal, at the Goldfield Hotel in Nevada. I'm possibly going to be there. It depends on whether I'm filming or not. But whether I'm there or not, it's a benefit to try to save, I believe, the schoolhouse there. It's a non-profit event. So anybody's in the area, you should definitely check it out. There's going to be a lot of bands and food and stuff like that. So it should be a good time.
Awesome.
And that's about all I got to plug.
And hopefully, you said you start filming for season 3, which will be awesome, and we're all looking forward to that. So,
Fingers crossed.
yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you.
I'm open for it, even though Sarah doesn't have cable.
I know. You know what? Matt, I'm going to hitchhike to your house and we'll watch it together.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
going to be a long
I can't
hitchhike.
talk to you again until you. I can't talk to you again until you get sci-fi.
So don't worry, I have it, and I have a very, very large DVR system. So if I'm not here, it's always recording. So
Nice. Nice.
Nice.
That's
yeah,
so
well, Jason,
funny.
man, it was awesome chatting with you, dude. You know, and if there's anything else that you come across or whatever, and I offer this to anybody, feel free to ask, man. I mean, if you happen to be in the area and something's going on, or hey, you want to grab some pizza and some beer, dude, I'm down. If you know, yeah, I did say pizza.
Nice.
Chicago pizza.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
That's where I
I'll
got
tell you
that.
that. Oh, yeah? I'll tell you that, too, man. That's one of the best things about traveling around the country is all the food. I mean, we had a 3-way in Cincinnati. We had a 5-way in Cincinnati.
Hey, put down the show.
Yeah, the food's incredible.
Yum. That
But
sounds
yeah,
awesome.
man. Thanks so much for having me on.
Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. And you're definitely welcome back anytime, so just let us know.
Alright, cool. See you guys next week.
Definitely. Just pop in, crush the party.
You become the creepy guy that calls in every show.
Party crasher.
You can be that creepy. You can be that creepy guy, man. That's alright. That's alright.
Awesome.
Well, yeah, we're looking forward to season 3, and I'm gonna shoot Brian a message probably tomorrow, because it's late by him, and just let him know that, hey, he's gotta get on this. I told him that to call in and talk.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Sure.
So,
yeah,
Awesome.
man, and say hey to Ursula and Jeff and the crew and everybody.
yeah, like I said, Chicago Growth Conference is the 6th. Booth Brothers are gonna be there. Willie Atkins, Ursula, Jeff Mudgett. It's gonna be a good time. So, I always wish that all of us kind of lived in one central location so we can all hook up and go to all these events and stuff. And you know, oh my God, that'd be crazy. maybe one day if we all, if I find the key piece of evidence that I win actually the Nobel Prize for, I'm gonna fly all of us around everywhere to all the events so we can meet people and talk with them. All of our friends are all spread throughout the country, so.
Right.
Nice,
That would be
man.
crazy.
Sounds like a plan as long as the food is free.
That'd be so much fun.
Yes. I'm in, man.
90 seconds.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, and we'll definitely have to have you on again because this was a lot of fun.
Cool.
So,
Thank you, guys. Oh, you got it. Have a terrific night.
thank you. You
You
too.
too. All right. See ya.
Bye. Well, that was an awesome show, Matt. We totally hit that one off.
An awesome show.
Great
60
guest.
seconds.
Great questions. So quickly, anything that you want to plug? I kind of already plugged my Mexico trip. I'll plug that more next week.
I've probably got about 15 seconds left, so just, October 6th is the Chicago Paranormal Ghost Conference hosted by Ursula BOP, Willie Atkins. Jeff Budge is going to be there at the Booth Brothers. It's going to be phenomenal. I'm going to be there, and feel free to come down if you're in the area, whatever. I mean, we're definitely welcome. It's at the Forge Theater, downtown Chicago. So I'll post a little link to it. You can buy tickets, all that stuff, and it all goes
10 seconds.
99% of it goes to save the Forge Theater because it's about to be torn down. And, my friends, it is haunted. So,
Nice.
besides that, I am good.
Awesome. Well, great. Well, everybody, don't forget to tune in every Wednesday night from 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Next week we'll also have some awesome guests. So check us out, check out our website, and check us out next week. And we will see you later. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio.